Hello everyone, come back kids here. We're with Nick Peet and we're going to do some fight recaps.
How was it last night?
It's funny, we were walking back to the hotel doing like our own little walk and talk review, and we were like, was it the best night in UFC history? Because there's so many finishes. The atmosphere was arguably one of the best atmospheres there's ever been at any UFC event ever. And the only thing probably knocking it down is that it wasn't a pay-per-view, it wasn't a fight, it wasn't a championship fight at the top of the bill. But other than that, like, I've been covering UFC for almost 20 years. The atmosphere was just absolutely incredible. And to have 11 finishes on one night, it's only been done twice before. Bisping against Rockhold in Australia, and there was an Amanda Nunes card where there was 11 finishes as well. So it equaled the record for finishes, but it was the new record for the most knockouts. Obviously there was more submissions on those events. So I just think when you put in the combination that France went 5-0, that the fans went absolutely mental all night, and we got so many finishes, you know, Dana White sells holy SHIT moments, and we got 11 of them. It was amazing. So I think it's right up there, definitely for me personally. Obviously, there's been great events in terms of UK MMA, Bisping winning the title. I was in Salt Lake City when Leon won the title with the head kick. There's been amazing moments. But as an event from start to finish, that's right up there for me.
So about that Mason Jones one, the comeback, it was brilliant, wasn't it? It was like, he got knocked down twice and then got back up, and then everything else was just picture perfect.
Yeah, and he got knocked down heavy as well, didn't he? Like, that was a big knockdown. And the way he got back up, and then he kind of got caught again and stumbled back down again. But then Okai just started throwing, and you could kind of see Mason cleared his eyes a little bit, and you thought, okay, he's not out of this. But he was like engaging enough, so Okai was thinking, I've got him, and was just swinging away. And I said to Adam next to me, I said, if Mason Jones can ride this storm out, Okai's going to be in trouble here, because he's throwing everything in every shot. And ultimately that's what happened. Okai basically punched himself out, and then Mason Jones drops him, comes on strong, and then just starts smashing him to bits with ground and pound. So for me, I'm over the moon for Mason, because he's such a lovely kid, and he's been through such a journey. You know, he come in as a Cage Warriors champion. Everyone was like, oh, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. He was a two-weight Cage Warriors champ, just like Conor McGregor. And then he got turfed out of the UFC, and he was like, even his own family to his face was going, you're not good enough for the UFC, you're not good enough. Even when he took the fight with Jeremy Stevens is too good for you. They're not just like people in his town, his family members said that to his face. So good on Mason Jones, because it's nearly Christmas and he's got 50 grand performance bonuses in his back pocket. Let's see what his family are saying now.
What are your thoughts on the judges giving a 50-45 to Nazzardine?
Great shout. I don't know how you guys scored it, but I thought Bahia won round 3.
Yeah.
I thought he had a good. I thought round 1 was close.
I will give round 1 to Borralho, because I think he landed the more damaging strikes, and then at the end he just controlled him against the cage.
Yeah, I got to the end of round 1 and we were kind of split. I was leaning towards Kyle, but then I was thinking, well, we're in France and maybe the judges be influenced, because every time Kyle landed, absolute silence.
I know. Me and Richie were on the side, and Kyle landed an amazing teep to the head. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And then
Nothing.
It was just silence.
No reaction whatsoever. Where Nazzardine would throw a shot, miss, and the crowd would go mental.
I know.
So if you're a judge, you ought to think about, there's judges on 3 sides of the octagon. If you're the judge that's sitting there with your back to the action, and all you can see is the fighter's back, and you see someone throw at the action of a punch, and crowd goes wild. If you're a judge who can't see, you're going to go, that landed.
Yeah.
So that's going to convince them. So it does help. That's obviously the benefits of home advantage. I thought the first was really close. Toss a coin. Could have gone either way. Round 3 for me was definitely Borralho. He just upped the pace, started to really engage. But to be honest, I thought Nazzardine Imov was superb. No wonder he's called the sniper. Doesn't waste much, does he? Doesn't throw much, but when he throws, he very rarely misses. Got great head movement, and his boxing I just thought was too sharp for Borralho.
Yeah. I think what Kyle should have used in that fight was his grappling. He didn't show much of his grappling. And yet, when he was against the cage in round 1, I thought that he could have tripped him from the inside of the leg or something, and then won the round, so it wouldn't have been as close.
Yeah, there was a few times in the fight where he had those double unders and could have got the takedown, but he decided to not.
Yeah.
Listen, you guys both know enough about this sport now. Do you think Kyle making weight 2 weeks ago to be the backup to the Hamzat fight and Duplessis, do you think that ultimately impacted his performance? Because in rounds 4 and 5, he just didn't have the energy to go again, did he? I think that was a mistake from him. And I think when the team look at that, they'll probably think, right, we'll never do that again.
Yeah.
Because obviously he just didn't have that second gas to go again, which Bahao usually has. But listen, it was a humbling night for the fighting nerds, wasn't it? I think a lot of people, myself included, I sat down with Maurizio Ruffi this week, did a great interview with him. And I was like convinced that he would be too talented a striker for Benoit Saint-Denis. And as it turned out, Benoit Saint-Denis was just on a completely different level as a mixed martial artist. It just goes to show you can be the flashiest striker in the world, but if a grappler gets hold of you and you've got no takedown defense or not, there's nothing you can do. The most important thing in this game, in mixed martial arts, is controlling the geography. If you can control where that fight takes place, you can make the fight happen where your strength is. And Benoit did that from the very first second. He just got a hold of him and went, right, we're having my kind of fight tonight. It didn't matter how good Rufy was. If you can't get the distance to throw spinning elbows and spinning axe kicks and wheel kicks and all the other amazing stuff, if you can't get the space to do that, you can't do it. And Benoit just absolutely ragdolled him everywhere. And to be honest, after the way he was humbled here last year against Moicano, in front of his own fans, which, as a decorated military man, that must have been devastating for him. On the back of losing to Dustin Poirier when he got a chance to really break into the top 3 as well. I knew he was going to come with a vengeance last night. I didn't know he was going to come like that, because it blew my mind how good he was.
Oh, yeah, he was amazing. So what I think next for Benoit Saint-Denis is Michael Chandler. I think Benoit Saint-Denis versus Michael Chandler. Chandler's explosive. Benoit's one of the most exciting Frenchmen, probably the most exciting Frenchman in the UFC. So I think that'll be a brilliant fight.
I think it'd be a great fight, yeah. I think for him now, the good thing is that all the fights in the top 10 are back in conversation again. What he was doing last night, you've got to appreciate, is as talented as Rufy is and excited as we all are about Rufy, and he'll come again, he wasn't ranked. So you've gone from fighting Dustin Poirier, which is basically an eliminator if you win it. Then he gets put in with Renato Moicano, the hottest guy in the division who's making all the headlines, and gets battered everywhere. So suddenly they're like, right, you got to fight this guy, Maurizio Ruffi, who everyone's talking about, who's not even ranked. So now you're defending your position just to be in the rankings. So that's pressure, that's real pressure. And Benoit Saint-Denis just rose to the occasion last night. But it felt like a few years ago after COVID, we had that show in London. Tom Aspinall was top of the bill, Mo Mokhiev was like second on, slammed and won by finish and all this stuff, and suddenly UK had probably its greatest night in the history of UK MMA. Last night was France's turn, because you could feel the momentum when they were singing La Marseillaise and the hairs on the back of their neck, and everyone was just like, oh my God, early on. You kind of felt, wow, something special is happening here. In the history of French MMA, we're in the arena when their greatest night's about to happen. So by the time Benoit run through Maurizio Ruffi, me and Adam had both tipped Caio Borralho in the run-up. We were like, you know what, I think Caio's going to get it done. But by the time they were announcing the main event, we were both like, nah man, this is Imamov's night, this is France's night, there's nothing going to stop him. And sometimes momentum's like that, you know, when it's like when a gym, if you have a couple of lads from the same gym on the same show, your mate gets in and wins, and you're on your dressing room hitting pads, you think, well, he's just won, he's my training partner, you get a lift from it. It was like that last night, but just in terms of Frenchmen. Well, he's won, and I want the pop. I want them to sing La Marseillaise when I'm fighting as well. Yeah. It was mega. I thought it was great.
Do you feel like when Ruffy lost, it could have brought down Caio a bit?
Yeah, for the exact same reasons. You know, if you're in the dressing room warming up, and your sparring partner's just been finished dramatically, and he's got this incredible unbeaten record, how can that not impact you? Because suddenly doubts go in your mind. Well, I spar with him, I train with him, and he's just got beat. Oh, wait a minute, how good's my guy then? It's just human nature, isn't it? You know, there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, I think it probably did affect Caio, yeah, absolutely. What did you boys think of, let me ask you a question. What did you boys think of the all-British battle? Paul Craig, Modestas Bukauskas. How good do you think Modestas looked? And how far do you think he can go now?
I think Modestas, well, He was on fire last night. To finish Paul Craig like that, the ref didn't even see it coming because it was at the end of the round. He elbowed him, knocked him out, and then that was it. He took him down, I think, as well.
He tried the flying triangle, Paul Craig, but he failed.
That's right. Tried to pull guard, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then Modestus.
That
That
was-
elbow.
Yeah. That was a big
Most
mistake
of the-
from Paul Craig.
Most of the human population, if Paul Craig jumps a flying triangle, you're probably
Gonna get subbed.
you're probably gonna get subbed. So for Modestus to do that, so, class statement made.
I spoke to Tom at the ceremonial weigh-ins backstage, just having a chat with him. And I said, what do you think about Modestus? And he said, if Modestus fights in the octagon, like he fights me in the gym every day, he said, he'll fight for the title. He's good enough. Now, if the heavyweight champion of the UFC is saying he's good enough to fight for the light heavyweight title, then it's about Modestus believing in himself and finishing Paul Craig like that. This is Paul Craig. He's the only man to beat Ankalaev, the current champion, Paul Craig. You're finishing him like that with the one big elbow right on the belt. Surely Modestus now is going to be 20% better next time. Because if Tom's telling him how good he is and he's delivering performances like that, Modestus could be a title contender from the UK. Absolutely.
Modestus at least deserves a top 15, top 10, or at least in the rankings, I think.
Yeah. What other performance was your standout?
The other guy from Austin Tybora.
Oh yeah.
What's his name?
The big Croatian
Yeah.
kid.
Didn't he have like three nipples?
Delaja.
Yeah, he did. He had another one there, didn't he?
Yeah. What do you think about his 3 nipples?
I thought his 3 nipples were mad, yeah. I did actually spot that when he was on the scales as well. I said that. I was like, look, he's got 3 nipples, this fella. But he fought Marcin Tybora 10 years ago and got beat. So to fight him again 10 years later on his UFC debut, when Tybora's ranked number 7 and you're making your debut, that's the bad thing about that heavyweight division. You can literally fight someone, as he did, in the top 10 on your debut, win and become a top 10 UFC fighter. So the only problem we've got now, the guys at the top of the heavyweight division, with Mick Parker and Elijah and people like that, they all train with Tom. So it's like Tom's sparring partners are filling out the top 10 in the world, and Tom's never going to face them. But no, I thought he was great. For me personally, obviously we've mentioned Mason Jones, but what did you think of Sam Patterson? That was like unbelievable.
Literally, we were walking into the arena,
And we saw Sam Patterson getting the finish.
and then I looked to my side. The fella is like that. Not even on the floor. He was standing up like that, like wobbling on his legs.
Out on his feet.
I know. And then I was like, oh, we missed that. Yeah.
That's 4 first round finishes for Sam Patterson now. That's equaling the longest knockout streak in the UFC. But unlike the other people, I think Carlos Prates has had 4 consecutive knockouts as well. But nobody else has done it all in the first round. Like 2 submissions and 2 knockouts as well.
Yeah.
Think about when he made his debut against Ash Moose in London and got knocked out, remember?
Yeah.
On his debut, and he looked embarrassed, and he was, I remember seeing him in the aftermath and he was devastated. To get knocked out on like that badly on your UFC debut, go away, look at yourself in the mirror, and then come back and win 4 first round finishes. Mate, that just shows you who Sam Patterson is. Like, that's
He has a heart of gold. Heart of gold.
So you go from one extreme to the other. Sam Patterson riding now, crest of the wave, looks phenomenal, get him a ranked opponent, superstar. Then the opposite side of the coin is, you get the phone call on Monday, your dreams come true, you're fighting in the UFC, do you want to take this fight the weight division above? Harry Hardwick, yes I do, this is my dream, let's go for it. And everything is like a fairy tale until the bell goes, and then it becomes your worst nightmare. That's MMA. You know what I mean? You can't knock him for taking the chance. We're all like, oh, good for you, Harry, why not? And listen, we were also saying, it's going to be tough. Kid he's fighting's supposed to fight Ferzian, one of the best lightweights in the world. So the Brazilian's one of the best in the world. He's trained a full camp for it. He's dialed in. You're kind of going, Harry, weight division above. He saved the card. He saved the fight anyway. Good for him. I hope he has a good account of himself. He's going to struggle. We know that.
5 days notice, 4 days notice.
He's going to have... Let's hope he makes an account of himself. And then he comes back at featherweight with a full camp and shows us what he can really do. But after watching him last night, you're kind of like, oh, that's that was a tough watch, wasn't it? If you're a British fight fan, that was a tough... Well, even if you're any fight fan, you think, poor kid's jumped in to realise his dream. Maybe that's why sometimes, like Paddy, we all know Paddy well. How many times did the UFC ask to sign Paddy before Paddy... No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Paddy took his UFC opportunity when it was right for Paddy. Now, Harry may not be in that position. He might, if he says no, he might not ever get the call again. So I understand why he takes it. But I did feel for him last night. You know, there's not many times, in fact, only one time before was I in the room when a fighter was wheelchaired out of the octagon. And that was Anderson Silva when he broke his leg. Like, it doesn't happen often. It's a bad visual. And I was just glad this morning when I woke up, I seen that he was standing on his own 2 feet. So obviously his legs will be sore today. But I think his pride, more than anything, is going to be bashed. So I hope we see Harry again next year in the UFC, down a featherweight, and then hopefully we see the best of him.
I feel like after Harry's performance, then a lot of people are thinking about that. Is he really ready? But I feel like when he's fit, when he's ready, and when he's at his own weight, I think he's going to shock a lot of people at featherweight.
Yeah, and plus, you got to remember the Brazilian, as I say, the Brazilian kid's dialed in for a main card slot against Faiz Ziam, who's fringe ranked already. So the Brazilian's got a lot of experience. He's got a full camp, and he's got a game plan to take on one of the best lightweights in the world. And then suddenly Harry comes in with no training camp. You know, we very rarely see mismatches in the UFC because it is the best versus the best. It looked like a mismatch last night, which is not a good look for Harry, unfortunately. UFC don't do mismatches. And anyone watching that, I go, why is that guy in there with him? Obviously, we know the context. We know he's coming at late notice. We know if he hadn't have done it, the Brazilian might not have even had a fight. So you've got to appreciate him for that. But yeah, I do feel for Harry. It was a tough one.
Last night we were in the hotel. We saw Harry. We were speaking to him. He's still in good spirits after that fight.
Yeah, and you know, hopefully he said to you, he's in now. You know, and next time it won't be a similar circumstances. He won't take a fight at 4 days' notice. He won't take it outside of his own weight division, the UFC, because you know, as tough as it was to watch, there was also a certain level of, after them first couple of leg kicks, he could have checked out. No one would have blamed him if he'd have gone down and gone, sorry, my leg's gone here. But he didn't.
Yeah.
He kept trying to get back to his feet like a warrior. It made it a tough watch, but you kind of went, good for you, man. You're going out on your shield in style. But yeah, as I say, you know, hopefully he has a good break, stays off social media. If I was him, you know, if I was his friends and family, I'd go, right, swerve social media for 6 months, because people on Twitter are arseholes. Swerve it, and then come back and go again at featherweight and show people what you're really made of. So far this year, you guys have been to Miami, you've been to Paris. Where's next?
We've been to London as well.
Well, we won't talk about London because it wasn't that good. But Miami and Paris, the two best events this year. Combat Kids were at both. You coming to Abu Dhabi?
When's Abu Dhabi? Oh, we'd like
25th.
to. We'd like to, but we haven't got no
Here we
tickets.
go.
or not.
Sponsors, get on the lads, get them out to Abu Dhabi. We went to Miami, one of the best fights of the year. Paris, absolutely one of the best fights ever. Now we need to go to Abu Dhabi, don't we, and make sure we have a good night there.
Is it the Combat Kids lot?
Combat Kids, absolutely. Combat Kids fight disciples, merging together, I love it.